In this video, let's add some color to our application. So currently we only have this primary color. By the end of the video, we'll have colors for the rest of our buttons. Now, if you're familiar with Angular Material, going back to Angular Material version 17, you'll notice that there were different colors you could pick from for your buttons. And if we actually look at the HTML, there was this attribute, the color attribute, and then you could set your color. Well, that has totally changed since Angular version 18. So now here in Angular version 19, you'll notice that there's no options for different button colors. And if we actually look at the HTML, there's no longer any color attribute. And the reason for that is there's a different approach for setting your button colors. There's actually a couple different approaches. One of them is using the CSS class-based theming option, and that's what we'll go over in this video. What's nice about this new approach is you could create as many different button colors as you want. So let's say your theme or your application needs 10 different buttons with 10 different colors. You could create all of them different colors easily with this new approach. You're not just locked into 3 different colors. So let's get started by setting our first button, the tertiary button. In a prior video, we generated this custom theme by using the Angular Material schematic. And when we generated this file, these 2 variables were automatically created for us, the primary and the tertiary. And we already set up the primary inside of our style sheet. If we go inside of our style sheet, inside the HTML, we included it by using the Angular Material theme mixin. Then we pulled in the primary palette. Well, we could do something very similar to what we're doing here, but instead of tying our palette to an HTML element, we could tie it to its own CSS selector or class. So what we'll do is we'll use this tertiary palette that's automatically created for us, and we'll tie it to a class. I called it tertiary, but you can name this class whatever you want. And then we're doing something very similar to what we're doing with the primary palette. We're pulling in using the theme mixin, and we're calling the tertiary palette that's inside of our custom theme file. And now we could use this selector class exactly like you would normally use a class. So I'll copy this, and inside of our dashboard component HTML, that's where our buttons are located. Inside of the tertiary button, I'm going to set that class. I'll just paste that in there. And then also, I'm going to update this to use the matte flat button. That's going to give it the nice background color to it. So I'll just replace this. And this should be working. We should see the changes within the browser now. And now our color is being added to the button. Now we could do the same approach for the secondary and the error button. However, we don't have those variables created within our custom theme, so we'll need to create those 2 variables before we apply it to our style sheet. Back in our theme, we could add on 2 more properties at the end of our tertiary palette. One for our secondary palette, and the other one's for our error palette. And then what we're doing is we're calling on this palette's variable, plucking out the secondary colors, and then we add on the rest of the colors, and that's this variable right here. And then we also do the same thing with the error. Now what we need to do is add it to our style sheet. So inside of the style sheet, right below the tertiary, we'll add on 2 more classes. One for the secondary, I called it secondary, and that adds the secondary palette. And then the error adds on the error palette. And then the last thing we need to do is update the buttons again. So inside of the secondary button, we'll pull in that class, so class, secondary, and then the error. And then also, let's go ahead and update to the flat matte button. Then we can see the background a little bit better. So I've replaced the matte button, the default, to use the matte flat button. And that's all the changes we need to make. We'll make sure to save everything and view it in the browser one more time. And we're seeing our changes to the secondary and the error buttons, and that looks great. So that's how we could apply styles by using existing themes and applying that to a class. But there's also another pattern we could follow to accomplish this, and I'll show you that in the next video.